You are listening to all burgundy and gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. Wole, Ray, and Glenn are your hosts. It's time for the Washington football team post-game show. The Washington football team defeated the New York Giants 22-7. We are also joined by the homie Seawall Sports and Entertainment's Candy Waller. What is good, Candy?
Hey, what's up, y'all? At least the Washington football team got a win.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's more important for Ron, right?
To the Washington football team.
Right, the Washington football team were their last win as the Washington football team, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's just great news. You know what I mean? I wasn't on last week, so I want to say Happy New Year to folks. You know what I'm saying? Happy 22 to folks, man. I hope everybody blessed and living their best lives. February. I know, right? I know, right? February 2nd. Name change, a new era. I like to call it. They like hiding. They doing a lot. They doing a lot. You know what I mean? I feel they do. I see what they doing. That's all I'm gonna say. I see what they doing. But we gotta talk about this game again. The Giants, the Washington football team beat the Giants. You can find this show on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia's Facebook and YouTube page, and on Twitter at 1340 AM. Fox Sports. It will also be on our Urban Sports Team Twitter feed, at Urban Sports Team, and on our Urban Sports Team Facebook page. You can tweet us and leave us any comments, and we'll try to respond to it on the show. All right, man, let's get right into it. Like I mentioned, the Washington football team went into New York, beat the Giants 22-7 for a game that meant nothing. There was some meaning into it because of what Coach Joe Judge stated about the football team and the organization. So Candy, I'm gonna start with you. What were your thoughts on the game? How do you feel like this team came into this game? Did you see that extra motivation into this game, this meaningless game?
It was not really a meaningless game. I have to admit, I didn't see extra motivation personally. I didn't see any extra motivation. I just saw both teams being who they are. Right? I think the Giants are in fact worse than the Washington football team, and so that showed today. I mean, I remember the first meeting of the season at FedEx Field. I remember watching that game and being like, because I think that was a field goal at the last second. Sort of win for the Washington football team, and it really came down to who was going to make the most mistakes. And that day, the Giants, or that night rather, because that was a Thursday night football game, the Giants made more mistakes. They missed more opportunities, and so Washington came up with the win. And I saw that today. I mean, Bobby McCain did come up big with that pick six. Been wanting the defense to have a pick six for weeks now, but of course it happens in a meaningless game. But
I know that's right.
I'm like, okay.
Speak your truth, man. Speak your truth. Go ahead. Speak your truth. No one's stopping you here.
But I mean, I feel like Coach Ron had made a comment before the last game saying that they were going to start evaluating players. And so I said to myself, just great. They're going to use the last two games to evaluate players. And now I really feel like this means absolutely nothing. So I mean, hey, I am glad. Let me be honest. I think, even for, the organization actually, and for the fan base, that they did win something, but I mean, it meant nothing. And there's still a myriad of issues. Wasn't really happy, of course, with the quarterback. I mean, the team needs a quarterback. Washington needs a quarterback. So bad. So bad.
Hey, no, you're right, though. You're right. So, Ray, what were your thoughts on the game?
I'm all about learning from your mistakes. I'm gonna piggyback a little bit on what Candy said, because I was having the Denny Green moments throughout the game. Like, the Giants are who we thought they were. And by the way, I hope you can hear me, because
I can hear you
since
perfectly
the snow,
fine.
The connectivity issues have been real. But anyway, however, I do think it's important to learn from your mistakes. And the biggest takeaway for me, outside of Antonio Gibson just balling out in this last game, and the Washington football team doing what they do best, and that's running the football and imposing their will, is you learn from your mistake when Mike McCarthy gave you bulletin board material weeks ago before a home game versus your biggest rival, and you came out flat. They came out and punched you in the mouth. The Cowboys did. Today, it was personal. You had tragedies that this team experienced, and they were reeling from that. And this is why you had to blow up on the sideline. This is why the energy of the football team wasn't the greatest. And it was said during the telecast how Ron Rivera pointed out, and maybe even Jack Del Rio, like, dude, we're going through a lot. And this coach wants to take a shot at us, and we're going through real life stuff. This is bigger than football. And they came out and they punched the Giants in the mouth. You did what you were supposed to do. So you learned from that mistake. You let another coach bring his benches, talk all this mess. Yeah, we're going to beat them. And this time you said, nah, not today. And I know the Giants are quote unquote a worse football team, but they always compete. They always play hard. That front four on defense is still good. So today, kudos to the Washington football team for standing up to for yourself, so to speak.
So Glenn, what are your thoughts on the game, my man?
Man, it was all about the money, dog. We talk about a running game. Yo, we coming into the game, you know, Antonio Gibson needed 109 yards. They will make sure he got that 109 yards. So they had a 1,000-yard rusher, right? So he needed that with the bonus. We knew Terry McLaurin needed 40 yards, right? We knew that he was going to get the 40-yard receiving. Remember, Terry McLaurin was non-existent in the second half, right? All his catches came in the first half. 4 catches for 93 yards. Didn't catch one in the second half. So it was about the money, man. This game was about, okay, who's close to us, their incentives? Who can get their incentives? What can we do? Can we get out with a win? Can we continue to, keep some fan base behind us? You know, again, it's a 7-win season. You can't be happy about 7 wins. Where all you could, I mean, let's be honest. You controlled your own destiny. Let's not forget that, right? They controlled their own with 5 games left. The Washington football team controlled their own destiny and won 1 game out of 5. Right? You lost the last 3 division. You lost 4 divisional games. Right? So all you have to do is win the divisional games, and you're in the playoffs. And so we were talking playoff teams. You know, everybody was talking playoffs with this team when they went on a 4-game winning streak, which was a smoke screen. I said it. Go back and watch the tape. It was a smoke screen, right? Because this football team wasn't playing well. Again, we talk about quarterback play. Heineke is good for what the Washington football team wants to do. I believe the biggest issue is the offensive line. And we saw it again today. That Washington offensive line right now currently sucks. Heineke's the manager of the game. Let's not forget that. If they run the football, he is a quarterback for the system. And so to do that. So again, I'm gonna say they need to run the football. Is he your franchise quarterback? No. But tell me who out there right now is an upgrade.
All right, so this is So
I'm gonna the game, Glenn.
I know, right? Hey, Glenn, he got it, man. No, Glenn, he going in. He got the energy. I told you, right? He got that smoke right now. But nah, too like this is the thing. Anything's better than Heineke. He's too limited to me. I'm at that point right now where he's just too limited. Even if you want to manage, he's limited, right? Because there's plays where, and Glenn, you're a coach and you've seen this. Like, dude, when you got that play action, you got Scary deep. He'll underthrow it and he's put Scary's life in jeopardy. Like, it's not even like we're not even talking football. We're talking about putting a man's life in jeopardy. Like you saw him play with DeAndre Carter in like the screen pass where all he had to do was look and see that the cornerback was barreling in and about to knock his head off, but he still threw the pass. It's like he don't have any caution for error. Like he don't care. Like he's just like, I'm gonna just throw it just to throw it. I just feel like in terms of arm strength and even as a manager, he's so limited, right? He is so limited. And he's mobile, but he's like not that. He's mobile, but not that mobile to negate that arm. Like that arm is super weak. And especially we watch football in December as, you know, Washington fans growing up and seeing this team in glory years. We know when the weather gets cold, the wind's going to be swirling. Can that arm maintain and hold up in the playoffs in December or in January? No. So to me, like, even if Ron Rivera has aspirations of going to the postseason and really doing damage, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't go into the season with this dude as your starting quarterback. I always hear Moose talk about it like, maybe this could be the quarterback. They can wait another year. No, this is year 3. What are you talking about? Year 3 is the year that you're trying to show real progression. What are you talking about having Heineke back as your quarterback? Like, in this game,
Ron said that he's going to, he's looking for a quarterback. It's already known. Heineke knows that it's known. Moose, I think at that point, when listening to Moose and those guys, they were just finding something to talk about because the game was a stinker on TV. So they had to just find something to talk about. One thing I didn't like about Heineke, he was late on a lot of the stuff. Especially the one with Antonio Gibson linking out of the backfield down the field. Any other quarterback hits that, and that's 6 for Washington football team because he was so late on that. Antonio Gibson ran out of bounds. He was trying to do something with his feet. So, But if they have to, they can't get a Deshaun Watson, anything like that. One thing I did not like about this game, since Ray told me to stick to the game, is the Washington.
I love it.
I gotta follow my rules.
I love
it. One thing they did not like in the Washington football team that did it again, they struggled on the other team's side of the field. And they showed it again today against a Giants team that was not good. They struggled on the other side of the field.
So I can't. Do you want to add something? I thought you wanted to say something.
No, look, my mind was going a million different places, but it would not have been sticking to the game. It was because I wanted to talk about Heineke and your point about almost getting Terry killed quite a few times this season, and even today I saw it a couple times. But I'll stick to the Giants game.
But big ups to Terry though, right? Another 1,000-yard season. You know what I mean? Like another 1,000-yard season. You know, second. You know, in consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. The first player to do it for the Washington football team since Henry Ellert. You know what I mean? And he had bad quarterback play too. When he was here, he had John Freeze as a quarterback a couple times.
Ooh.
But yeah, bigs up to Scary Terry. Also to Antonio Gibson. For what was you said? Ruby got a comment. What did the comment say?
We did. I'd rather lose than win this ugly, is what the comment said. That's an interesting statement, brother.
No, I see it. All right, so
ugly win to me.
I mean, it was an ugly win. But I'm real petty. I'm about being petty, and I just feel like, and I didn't get to see the handshake. I wish I went. I was trying to keep game.
That's what I want to see too.
Me too. Like I'm all about like it's 22-7. If I'm Coach Rivera, I'm going for 30. Like dude, he spoke real reckless out his mouth. So I feel like you have to treat him. You gotta treat him wrong, man. You gotta treat him wrong. Like you have to. And I felt like I wanted because Joe Judge. I mean, he tried to backtrack like a real punk move. I really wanted to say something else. A real punk move.
Heard you.
You backtrack when you say something. Yeah, I did. Almost did. Like if you're gonna say something with that type of energy, you know what I mean? You called him out. You said that your organization is better. You called out a specific situation what happened within that organization. Eric says Legends' worst game is team's best win margin. But like if you don't go that route, then own it. Like own it. Because they came back and they asked you a simple question. We're like, do you have anything to say about those comments that you said earlier? Were you talking about Washington? He was like, nah, no, bro, no, own it. You said it, own it. You know what I mean? Have that same energy. Don't back off of it. You know what I'm saying? And then my thing is that, dog, for you to even speak that type of language, dude, your team lost to the same. You lost to the team the first game of the season. Your team is playing like crap. You're playing worse than the team. Secondly, last year, complaining about whatever. I mean, you beat the team twice, but last year the team had a better record than you last year. So your organization is way more jacked up in terms of on the field product than this team. So if I was you, I would shut the hell up.
I mean, that's real. What you brought up is key because, like you said earlier, I mean, they let Coach McCarthy come in here and carry everything. They
that
really
too, yeah.
Coach McCarthy carry him.
And he did, but at least he owned it though. That's what I'm saying. I respect that.
Right.
I respect it. He owned it.
I think because I mean that kind of stuff gets around, right? So I think Joe Judge he tried it because Coach McCarthy tried it and it worked for him. And I think Coach Ron and they probably realized like, no, now we looking like fools. Now we looking like real clowns. And
George, I feel you. And George came out and said Coach Judge is a fool. What did he say? Qualified? I missed that one part. What did he say about qualified? Oh, but there you go. It was not qualified to be a head coach. Yeah, no, definitely not qualified to be a head coach. But
I think Judge was trying to do the same thing McCarthy did. Try to punk the Washington football team. He tried to punk them. One thing I like about McCarthy. You watched the Eagle game last night. They put 50 up, right? The Cowboys didn't stop putting 50 up on the Eagles because they had backups in the game, and that's the attitude. That's the attitude that Ron Rivera has to have. And you know what? If you put your players out there, if you're playing with a backup quarterback, whatever the case may be, come after them cats and let's go out. If Washington football team would put up 50 today, right, on the New York Giants, fans would have still been happy and said, this Washington football team. I'm like, Wally, I'm petty. Stop me. I'm gonna keep running. Stop me if you can.
Yeah.
I would have been petty.
The job is you got players. We practice. My players practice. I'm gonna run what's in my playbook. Stop me if you can.
Look, man, Ray, me and Ray went to school together. We've been knowing each other for years. Ray knows I'm petty. Like I would have been super petty. You know what I mean? I would have been super petty. Like I don't see I don't see why you wouldn't be petty in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Because especially if you that dude and Ray and I think we're similar this way. But you that dude that talks trash initially, like if you egg us on initially, and we shining and it's our and we doing it, we gonna let you have it. You know what I'm saying? So in this particular point in time, we're talking about in this game, it's 22-7. Your team has it, pretty much have your hands on their throats. I would have put more points on the board, but it is what it is. I mean, they got the W. I'm sure Ron is happy with it, I guess, whatever. But I'm going to do something that Ray typically does. I'm going to copy my man Ray. So what are some of the positives that you got out of this game? So I'm going to start with you, Ray.
Positives. You had more rushing yards than the Giants had total yards. That to me is a statement, because what has your strength been in the majority of your wins? I'm going to say every win outside the Atlanta game, you ran the ball effectively. And you controlled the clock. In this game, it was no different. And the Giants knew what was coming. This is what the greats, the legends of the team, I'm talking Doc Walker, says, run the ball down their throats. I don't care if they know it's coming. This is your bread and butter. Run the ball down their throats. And that's what they did today. The Giants were huffing and puffing on that drive where Antonio Gibson finished it off with that touchdown. And it was pointed out on the broadcast, look, the Giants are tired, and you impose your will. I love that. To me, this is what you should have been doing all year. I don't care who you playing against. You play bully ball. And that's when your defense is most effective, when you're keeping the other team off the field as much as you can by moving the chains, man. And again, the Giants do compete. We know it. The Giants upset New Orleans for a reason, because not just that they're a team that has a strong front four. They're a team that they play for themselves. They play for the name on the back of their jersey. They're not playing for that coach. I mean, we're talking about how crazy he is, right? So that was the biggest takeaway. Scott Turner, we've been preaching it to you from preseason. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball.
Facts,
help your quarterback, because you guys are talking about Heineke's arm, but it's just his awareness on the football field because he's young. He doesn't have a whole lot of experience as a starter. You have to do I'm going to say you have to devise up schemes that are going to make it easier for him to read defenses and to play to his strengths. And that's where Scott Turner just had difficulty this year, because he's a young coordinator. And we hate to beat up on him, but when you build this dude up to be Mike Martz, but you asked for positives. I'm sorry, my bad. I'm going to my Glenn now. Glenn, you got the around you, and you motivated me. So that's my thing. Is clearly today you finished the season with an exclamation point because you played to your strengths, and still your quarterback still had difficulty though. But I mean, you ran that football. Antonio Gibson's he's a big dude. And when he imposes his will and his size, it's hard to stop him.
Yeah. So, Candy, what are some of your positives?
I'm going to say Joey Slye. Like, can we give it up?
Yeah, I love it. See what I'm saying? Like, I like that. I like that. Go ahead.
Because when Dustin Hopkins was out there stinking it up, everybody was upset. Everybody was mad. And I'm like, Joey Slye, when he played, because he was out, for injury, but when he played, he was extremely consistent. And having a good kicker matters. So my answer is going to be having
a good kicker matters. Hashtag that drink. Somebody hashtag that drink.
Seriously, because it was like as soon as we got a solid kicker again, nobody said anything else. And I'm like, no, man, he deserves some props. Joey Slye's all right with me.
I like that. Hey, Glenn, what are your positives, my man?
Man, the defensive line, the D line. Okay. My thing is the D line and how they played without Chase Young. This team played well without Chase Young, and I'll be that guy. I will continue.
I know you've been that guy. Go ahead, Devin.
Be that guy, because you saw a lot of young talent, and they didn't really miss a beat. What did you miss? Let's be honest. What did really miss without Chase Young on the field? But I think the D line grew up, and then now they're starting to build depth in that line. Even if some of those guys are not there next year, they have built some depth up in the defensive line. So I take away from that defensive line, you saw everybody shine today. They was playing, and it showed you as a Washington fan, if the D line can play like this consistently, what the secondary can do, because the secondary was locking up the Giants receivers because of the defensive line play and the pressure they was getting on for them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, defensive line played well. I mean, my positive would be McCain. I thought McCain played well. He had pick six. He had 2 interceptions. He had one to end the game. So he's played well. Obviously there's some talk about him if he's going to be able to come back next season. So I thought he played pretty well. Was a big fan of how he played. Defense as a whole played well. I mean, they gave up 7 points. That's it. I know the quarterback play made it easy. When the Giants quarterback play made it easy. The whole offensive situation made it easy for the defense to play well. But I mean, you got to call it for what it is. Those individuals, they balled out. Jamin Davis had a few plays. A lot of people have been real negative on that kid. Washington fans are the worst. I just gotta say it. I'm sorry. Just so irrational.
Certain
ones. Not all. You're right. Certain ones. Let me not. Like,
right.
I can't alienate. Okay. Don't let me not alienate the fan base. You're right. But just certain Washington fans kind of like. It's like you got a kid. He's a kid, and I guess I'm looking at as I'm a coach. I'm a coach too, being a basketball coach, and I'm now getting older. So now I'm like he's a kid, and you folks are out here getting on him on 1 year, and like he's a bust. And now this dude feels like he has to block people. He's not out here grandstanding. You don't see this dude. He's not the type of dude that's grandstanding. Now people adding him on social media, saying he's a bust and this, that, and the other. Now he feels like he has to block people. You know what I mean? It's not like he's the type of individual that sticks his chest out there and say, "Look at me." So, and folks out here folks got him to a point where he has to block you. I just like let the dude progress. Let him progress. Let him see what he's going to be. You don't know what he's going to be, and everybody's out here getting on. It's annoying, to be honest with you. I feel bad for the kid.
But I think you made a point. I think you made the point. I'm sorry.
I think what happened with Jamin, seriously, is Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is what happened.
Yeah, I know.
And so once people saw, everyone saw Michael Parsons as a rookie and on the rival team at that.
Yeah.
Now he's getting now. Unfortunately, Jamin is being. I mean, because Michael is a monster, so Jamin is now being compared to Michael Parsons. That's
unfortunate.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and that's true. Unfortunately, and like you said, I think what you said, Wally, was great. That he doesn't beat his chest, right? He's not very he's not overbearing, or people are not going to look at him. But again, he leads. If you could look at the box scores each and every week, he's up in the top 3 or 4 in tackles every week. They might be quiet tackles, but he's getting 8, 7, 8, 9 tackles a game, and which is consistent as a young guy. He's just not beating his chest every week. Truth be told, I'm going on this again. He's getting more tackles than Chase Young was.
I knew he was going to say it.
Even when Chase Young was healthy, right? Even when Chase Young was healthy. Hey, numbers don't lie. I learned from my dad a long time ago. My documentation beats your conversation any day of the week. And documentation was that Jamin Davis.
I like that. I kind of like that.
Fire emojis.
I know your fire emojis on that one. I like that one.
Yeah, so documentation is Jamin Davis was doing his thing slowly but surely.
One thing about Jamin Davis is, though, he only had 1 year of starting experience in college, so we knew it was going to be a learning curve and it was going to take some time for him to grow. What's not his fault is the Mason Fosters and John Bostick's were the people that were in that position before him, and people were excited about his athleticism and his speed, which you should be. He's still crazy athletic. Because I remember, Wole, you were like, that was slow linebacker play. We got a fast linebacker.
Yeah, I know. I was hyped that. I was so hyped. But I'm going to go back. But I'm gonna tell you why it's a little different though. But I know you're talking about it's different because one, you didn't even utilize him. Like, people are mentioning Micah Parsons. You didn't even if Washington the way Dallas used Micah Parsons, Washington wouldn't even use him that way. They wouldn't use him that way. Everybody, Dallas is using him the right way. Yeah. And I think Micah can cover. I think Micah Parsons could do it all. I think Micah would have been better than Jamin here. I'm not going to deny that, but he wouldn't be as impactful as he is in Dallas.
Right.
Because Washington wouldn't use him the same way. They wouldn't put him, hey, you want to rush the passer. We're going to have you blitz on all sides of the field. They wouldn't do him that. They wouldn't use him that way. So that's my thing. Like, everybody compares, Micah to Jamin, and I'm like, I don't do it because I've already said that I thought Micah was a different animal anyway. Right. But like people do it, and then just like, and obviously it hurts that he's a first round pick. You know what I'm saying? And then you got a dude in Cleveland that went from Notre Dame who balling out. You know what I'm saying? There's certain players where people thought they were better than Jamin. You know what I mean? And also, and then really be real with you, the way they even utilize this, like the way they've utilized this kid with snaps and everything, they've hindered him. Like they really have. You know what I mean? Because as a coach, and I don't care where you coach or what you coach, everybody knows your job. You got talent. Your job is to do what's best to like excel that individual's talent, the individual talent. Mm-hmm. Can you say Washington really did that with him? Ray, you mentioned he runs like a 4.3, 4.4 speed. How many times you see that dude blitz? How many times you see him come off the edge to try to make an impact play?
What did Glenn just say? Documentation over what? I gotta remember that.
Me too. I'm trying to stop.
Documentation over conversation, man.
Documentation over conversation.
I like that.
I might trademark it. You think he trademarked it?
Oh no, but that thing dope.
I'm about to make a T-shirt that says documentation. Documentation over conversation.
Hey, Ray, you know I get shirts made, so you know we can make it happen.
Because that is so real when it comes to Jamin Davis. I think that sums it up perfectly.
I agree. So what are some in this? I guess in this late game, what are some of the? I mean, whatever positive you have, you still gotta have some negatives. So what's some of the negatives? I'm gonna start with you, Kenny.
I mean, I think one thing that I feel is negative. I'm going to piggyback off of what you were just saying about Jamin Davis, and that's how he's being used. And I saw that so much this year. And in this game, I'm not feeling like the coaches are really appealing to the players' strengths. Like you said, they have a talent. You're supposed to help enhance that talent, enhance their strengths, not necessarily turn them into the football player that you once were, or what worked on another team. Help them and cultivate and develop their strengths and use them in the appropriate ways. And I'm still to this all throughout the season and last season, I'm not seeing Jack Del Rio do that. I'm going to call him out. And I know he already said last week in the presser that he will be back. But I've just been extremely disappointed in Jack Del Rio. Even Scott Turner at times, red zone play calling. But I'm still not feeling the coordinators being as strong as they could be in making adjustments and truly planning for the opponent. I'm just not seeing it.
Glenn, what are some of your negatives in this game?
Some of my negatives in this game, just again, third down. The Washington football team sucks on third down, man. It's terrible, man. Today alone, all right, was 3 for 13 on third down. At one point in the first half, they were 0 for 7 on third down. You can't win football games against quality football teams on third down. I mean, if you don't win third down, that to me goes back to play calling. If you look at it was 3rd and 2, and I'm happy that Scott Turner ran the football. But you only picked up 1 yard, right? Right. So then you look at you got to go forward on 4th down, and then you finally get the 4th down play. I think sometimes he doesn't know the personnel, the backs, to be able to put in for certain situations. The personnel, to me, third down is a key for them. You have to get third down and understand. And the second thing is understanding the situation. Tyler Heinicke took a sack late in the game, right?
He always does that.
He took a sack late in the game. They lost 10 yards. Which was out of Sly's range. So now you have to pass the ball in order to get some points out of this drive. So just those situations, to me, that is something that the Washington football team has to address in the offseason, and it all can change with offensive line and a quarterback and working better on third down.
Eric, I agree with you. I hate Dallas as well, but their defense is nasty, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Their defense is nasty. Ray, some of your negatives.
Woosah people on this self-care Sunday. Listen, calm down. You know what I'm saying? We preparing for the offseason. Just start to process that. Let your emotions out, though. I guess it's good to vent. I'm going to give a shout-out to Mark Phillips on Twitter because he posted this. Washington football hasn't posted a shutout since 1991. That is the longest.
That's Super Bowl. That's Super Bowl year, right? That's Super Bowl
year. And Jake Fromm should not have scored a touchdown today with that situation and why. It's no reason why the Giants should have scored a touchdown or any points for that matter. So I feel like this Washington defense should have pitched a shutout and ended the longest such streak in currently in the NFL. And then number 2, I think Glenn said it to start the show. Terry McLaurin was non-existent in the second half. That bothers me because Terry McLaurin is one of the more respected voices in the locker room. I believe he's the number one reason why Taylor Heinicke remained a starter because he had the support of the number one receiver. Yeah. But he's been through so many quarterbacks, through so much frustration, still produces. But how much more will he be able to tolerate before he says, you know what, I think I can go to Philly and put up better numbers. I think I can go to Jacksonville and put up better numbers. I don't know if he's going to want to stay here. And I think you want to build around a player like him who's shown with all these different quarterbacks, with the coordinators being the issue, the coaches, he still balls out, and yet, for whatever reason, he doesn't seem like he's in the game plan like he should be. If I'm making sense, I love the running game. I want you to be a run first football team, but Terry McLaurin has to get the football or he has to get the targets, and I don't always see that. And I'm concerned he's going to want to leave. And this is someone you don't want to lose, not just because he's a top wide receiver, but because he's a great teammate. He's a great person. He's great for the locker room. He's great for the area.
No, I'm with you. I know where you're coming from. I actually, so it's the flip side to yours, but I know what you're saying in terms of a whole, in terms of the totality of the season. I agree with you.
Right.
In this game, once he got his 1,000 yards, I would have yanked him out. Like I don't think you need to play him. It's the last game of the season. I don't want him to get hurt. Like I just value him way too much as the player. But I'm with you in terms of the totality of the season. There are games where I'm like, it's fourth and 2, and you're going to Dax, Maxwell, whatever, where you can go to Terry. Like, why are you going to like your your 7th round pick or 6th round pick over Terry McLaurin? So I'm like, that makes no sense. But that's a whole different discussion. But I was more pissed off that, hey, it's the last game of the season. This game means nothing. I want to see you feed like De'Ami Brown. Like I want De'Ami Brown to get all the pass catches because you gotta know what you have. Like we was gassed up. I was gassed up included about how special this kid can be. And then he obviously throughout the season he's lost confidence and he lost snaps. He was playing more special teams. Like this is the last game of the season. You were high on this kid. Why not go ham in this last game of the season and like it's the last game of a preseason? Treat it the same way. Like showcase this dude and see if you have something that, hey, maybe we don't have to get a second wide receiver in free agency. Maybe if we see enough in this game, he can now grow off of this game, go into the offseason and get better if it's route running or whatever he has to work on. Like work on it. That's my thing. Like I want to see more individuals being showcased in this game. Like I want you to win the game, and once you had a decent lead and you felt like Ray said, like this team shouldn't even score anything. It got to a point where you felt good about once they got the pick 6, it was like, hey, everybody can eat. Like I want to see everybody play. I want it to be like it's like that game with you, like even if you're coaching boys and girls, you're beating a team like by 20 plus. You got kids who haven't played yet. Yeah, hey, you playing. You get minutes. Like that's the type of thing I wanted to see with De'Ami, and I didn't see enough of it. Like I saw plays where he wasn't. I saw when you playing Humphreys and all these other individuals. I know Humphreys is good, like for his role. I know he's good. Terry is good. He got 1,000. I don't need to see Terry no more. He that dude. I don't need to see Terry no more. But I do need to see De'Ami.
I want to give a shout out real quick to Felix too. HTTR and Bless. Yeah. He said 4-2 in the division last year, 2-4 this season. If you're 4-2 in the division this year, you're in the playoffs.
Yes.
Dang. Like that's simple. That's simple.
Facts.
Yeah. Facts.
I said,
totally facts.
Bro, I said this, and somebody was arguing me on Twitter because they like to argue with me. I said that, dog, if he after the winning streak, like you decided to revert back to throwing the football. If you run the football, you win 1 or 2 more games. What happens? You're probably in the postseason. Mm-hmm. But you chose to go back to what you did prior, which didn't work, and then you went that big losing streak. But if you chose to run the football, go back to what you were doing during that winning streak, when you beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when you beat the Raiders, both teams are in good spots. Well, the Tampa Bay already clinched. The Raiders have an opportunity to make the postseason. You know what I'm saying? You beat the Seattle Seahawks. You beat decent squads by running the football. Then you go after the bye. After the bye. When you play the Cowboys, you decided to go back to throwing the football. Mm-hmm. It is what it is, man.
I think there's a difference there, though, man. I think one is the running the football. 2, those games that you missed, they're missing J.D. McKissic, and people take him for granted.
True.
J.D. McKissic is a different maker on those third down conversions, those situations.
Good point.
He pose another threat. And so they missed J.D. McKissic, and I think Scott Turner said, "J.D.'s not here, so let me go do what I
want to do, what I want to do."
Yeah, what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. Because the thing about those 4 games, you had Philadelphia twice, which both of those games could have been winnable games. Even the COVID game, if they had everybody there, they still in contention for that game. The game they lost last week was a close game. They could have winnable game, and then you win the Giants here, beat the Giants here. I mean, you just got shellacked by Dallas, so it's just one of those things. 3 out of the last 4 still may get you in because of what happened today. So the Washington football team needed to get those wins, and they couldn't do it. Which won those 3 wins right there to put you 4-2. Sorry, because the only teams you would have lost to would have been the Cowboys. So that's what
Even
they
before
did.
that, and even before that, did the Broncos game? You did the same. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you have so many games where people can say whatever, but there are games where you decide to go. You decide to go this route. I'm talking about the play calling. That's why when people saying like Scott Turner, oh, he needs a quarterback, whatever. Like you decide to go that route. Like you decide to go that route. You have an opportunity to win football games. Forget about getting yardage, offensive yardage. You had an opportunity to do certain things to win football games. You decide to go a different route. You decide to showcase your quarterback, your limited quarterback. Like you wanted to do that. So by doing that, you hindered the outcome for the whole team. You know what I mean? Like, so that's my issue with it. Like when people talk about the OC, like, yeah, he's limited with play calling. Yeah, he's limited. But what you do is that you tailor things to your football team. That's why when I heard Moose say something about like Scott Turner puts his players in the best situation to be successful, I'm like, liar. Liar. Don't do that. Like, don't do that.
Starting with the quarterback.
Yeah, don't do that. Like, don't lie. So, but that's my issue. But again, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot going on. So, Ron is going to have to decide so much in the offseason. Like, so much. Like, obviously, which route he's going to do in terms of, like, taking care of the quarterback situation. Does he want to come back with Taylor Heineke as a starter and then draft a quarterback, or maybe trying to sign another quarterback and drafting a quarterback too at the same time, or does he want to keep his coordinators? So I'll start with this one. If you were Coach Rivera, how would you handle the quarterback situation?
If I'm Coach Rivera, see, that's a tough way to frame it for me.
because not what he would do, because I think I know what he would do. But if he were Coach Rivera,
what would I do? I would draft the QB. I would look at the history of this franchise and look at the league as a whole, which clearly to me tells you have to have a franchise quarterback in order to have sustained success. I mean, there are only a few coaches out there who can change quarterbacks, such as a Bill Belichick, but still win. He can have Matt Castle in the lineup and still go 11-5. But not every coach can do that, obviously. Not many coaches can. So I would draft a quarterback, and I like that this draft has some sleepers because, maybe it's not quote-unquote top-heavy, but last year's draft was supposed to be top-heavy, right? How did those guys at the top of the draft look? Trevor Lawrence looked okay, but nobody from Zach Wilson to Trey Lance. Who else was at the top of that draft? Justin Fields. Nobody wowed you like, oh man, so that doesn't necessarily mean you can't find a quarterback. But what you're doing now, and I understand you lost Fitz, but think about this. The free agent options right now are Colt McCoy's at the top of that list.
Jameis Winston. Don't listen to that list that Moose. That was a BS list too, bro. List that
okay.
Because Jameis is on that. Jameis is out there too.
But they're not gonna pick Jameis Winston up. You know that. So what would I do? I would draft a quarterback, and I would pick up a free agent quarterback, just to give that person 1 year, but it can't be Heineke, of course. That's it. Draft the quarterback. You got to and for what was it Moose that described what he's looking for?
Yeah, Moose was like, I was like, that list is not even an accurate list. But go ahead. But you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, a quarterback having mobility is great. Obviously, in today's game, it would be dope to get like a Malik Willis. Excuse me, but. You got to look at somebody who's going to be able to read defenses, who's going to not take sacks, who's not going to hold on to the football. You want the smartest quarterback out there. That's what I would be looking for. Somebody who I know can manage the offense and read defenses and make decisions that won't hurt the football team. Sometimes Taylor Heineke holding the ball, it hurt massively. Like Glenn talked about, taking those sacks, it hurts. You can't do that. In today's game, you got to get somebody who's smart. Peyton Manning, Teddy Bridgewater for real has that intelligence.
He would probably be out there too. He would probably be out there too.
If you know football, you know guys that can read defenses. And I mean, also, last thing I'm gonna say is you have to at some point establish. If I'm Coach Rivera, I have to establish my culture. Say what you want about Harbaugh in Baltimore, but the culture is there. They had how many injuries this year? How many people on the COVID list this year? And they always had a chance to win, or they won.
Always. Facts.
And so establish a culture, draft a quarterback for the future. You have to draft a quarterback. You have to. I mean, come on, you can't get any worse than this. You've been seven wins with this current strategy.
Facts. All right, so Eric also stated that he posted that team got mad cap room already before an annual bump. Yeah, they do. They can spend money. I've always said that they can spend money. It's definitely out there. The cash is there. It's just about who they want to bring in. But Candy, what do you think they should do with the quarterback situation?
I mean, I definitely think they need to. I think I was seeing a comment come through about get a free agent quarterback and draft one. Like,
I agree.
I mean, you don't have a choice. I mean, I really don't think you have a choice. I mean, it's clear. I mean, they can't do any worse than what they've already done, right? In the wrong era, right?
Yeah.
We now know that regardless of whatever happens, last year they had 7 wins. This year they got 7 wins. Okay. So it's like get your free agent quarterback and draft your quarterback for the future, because whoever they get in free agent quarterback isn't going to be here for the next 5-10 years. So you may as well do both.
I agree. No, I totally agree. Hey, Glenn, so what's your thoughts? What do you think they should do with the quarterback situation? Do you have a specific quarterback they should bring in, and a quarterback you really want to see them draft?
I just want to see them bring in I'm going to use a term from wrestling. Y'all guys understand this. They need a Roman Reigns, a needle mover.
Oh, right? Okay. Acknowledge me. I got you.
Roman Reigns' new shirt. He's a needle mover. I'm not talking about Dwayne Haskins, because we finished. The team finished 7-7, right? They need a quarterback to take them at least to 8-9, 9-8. Even if they're week 17, they're in the conversation for the playoffs. That'd be great, right? They need a needle mover. 7-7 is not enough, so you need somebody to tip that needle just up a little bit more, so you can close the gap between you and the Dallas Cowboys. Because guess what? Dak ain't going anywhere, right? Jalen Hurts looks like Jalen Hurts a Pro Bowl quarterback, right? Whether he's the alternate or not, he's still a Pro Bowl quarterback. You put that on his right? And so the Washington football team need a needle mover who can be in that conversation somewhere. Whether they find that in free agency, whether they find that in the draft, right? Free agency, I would like Jameis Winston, but he's coming off an injury, so nobody wants to spend that money unless they can see him progress, right? That would be great. Teddy Bridgewater, I think Teddy Bridgewater could do it if he comes over here. I also agree with you guys. Moose's list on there, who is kind of like, come on, dog. Let's be honest.
He's been petty. He was being real petty. He's being real. I saw that. He was being real petty.
I like Geno Smith.
Corey's not come back to Washington, right?
I've always liked Geno. You know that. I always like Geno, but Geno ain't going to be the one either. I love Geno.
You know, right? Geno Smith, but when you get beat up by your teammates, you can't.
It's over. It's over. I know.
And you can't put him in locker room. Hey Ray, let's be honest, man. When I was teaching school, right? When I was a teacher, if a
Stephen Davis, baby.
He ain't as good as Stephen Davis though. He ain't as good as Stephen Beast though.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Hey Ray, you know there's outliers. You know there's outliers in life. That's different.
And how long did Stephen Davis stay after that? Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true though too. Dang, that's true.
That happened at training camp. You can't get rid of the guy or middle of the season, but you can't bring in somebody because you want your quarterback to be a leader, right? Yeah. I like him being Malik Willisdale at Liberty University here in Virginia. I think he has skills. That team is doing well. I think you find a guy like that, but you also have to get a free agent. I would even do this, and I would say maybe this is too far fetched. I would see how Fitzpatrick is coming on with his rehab and give him another shot.
Maybe. I mean, it's better than what some of the options are.
He only signed a 1-year deal. Let's see how he's coming along and give him another shot and see if he can lead this team until Malik Willis can develop, or you can find somebody else in another draft. I mean, gratefully, hopefully, even though with the cap room, I don't think we get into Deshaun Watson. I don't think there's a Russell Wilson coming. I don't think there is, even the way out there, put money on, what's my man up in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they come to DC because I don't think DC fully has what they're looking for.
I got a pitch for A-Rod though, but that's a whole different show. I've already tweeted him. I'm trying to be his best friend. I'm trying to get him to go. I'm trying to tell him I'll take him some Go-Go's. I ain't go to Go-Go's anymore, but I'll take him to a Go-Go. Get him some wings, mumbo sauce. Teach him the whole DMV experience.
You know you're a California boy, so that
it's all good, man. Hey, he gotta learn. You gonna learn something different, man. You gotta learn something different. But in terms of like for me, obviously I think they should draft the quarterback. They should draft the quarterback and sign a vet. I'm on that route. But to me, like the vet they have to sign has to be good enough to overshadow okay offensive coordinator play. I mean calls. I feel like because when you get because you want a guy that can run your system, but doesn't have to be like that has to, but doesn't have to feel like he has. Well, who can run a system with no pressure? That he can just do it easily, right? And I feel like with this offensive coordinator, for instance, you can't have Geno Smith with this offensive coordinator. Like it won't work. You know what I mean? You gotta have a guy who plays at a close to an elite level. Like I know it's gonna sound funny, but I'm gonna be real. Like Kirk Cousins would be all right with this offensive coordinator. Like signing, like if you get a hands on Kirk Cousins, it's better with this offensive coordinator. To be real with you, you can't have a coordinate. Like for instance, you can't have like Ray knows about Kyle Shanahan because he coached Atlanta and he's coached San Francisco, and we know about Kyle too, and for because of DC. Like Kyle makes it easy for a quarterback to be successful. He made it easy for RG3. Even Trey Lance last week, Trey Lance had a good game because he can make it easy for Ricky to be successful. Kyle can scheme up things to make things quite easy for a younger quarterback. He's done it. That's what he does. Like, so you need a vet. To me, you definitely need to identify a vet that is good enough and smart enough to run your system who's not limited. And who can make you look good. To be real, who can make you look good. You know what I'm saying? Because your play calling isn't elite enough to make a player look good. So you need a vet that can make you look good as a play caller. So if you can identify a quarterback like that, he doesn't have to be the elite. I mean, like a quarterback that everybody's thinking of, like an A-Rod or whatever. But he has to be solid enough where he makes the simple throw. He makes a good throw. He can, throw for 300 yards. He can do, he can do the basics. You know what I'm saying? You bring that type of individual, and I think that's the type of individual that Ron should identify. Who that individual is, I don't know. I mean, I'd say that I like Jameis Winston. That's just a guy that I like. Jameis Winston. I think he's talented. But Glenn's point, he's come off an ACL injury, so I don't know how much, how much you're willing to wait for somebody like that. You know what I mean? But I would definitely get a Malik Willis, any type of dude. I would draft a quarterback in the first round. I wouldn't. I know a lot of folks talking about second round waited out. I'll draft one in the first round and have that individual wait. You know what I mean? If that person's not ready, I'll have that person wait. And at least you know that you have veteran play to start your season, because this is year 3 for Ron. I mean, people keep talking about rookie quarterbacks. At the end of the day, this is year 3, and if you understand it being year 3, you know that this is the year that you got to show real improvement. This ain't. You should be going back. You shouldn't be going backwards. You got 7-9, 7-10. You really in year 3, you're not supposed to be going back down to 4 and 15. 4 and 13, or you know what I'm saying, 3 and 14.
Does that exist in Washington? Because look at Gruden. I mean, does that really exist in Washington?
What, going backwards?
I mean, a 3-year giving a coach 3 years. Look how long Gruden stayed in
Washington. I know. I mean, don't even start on Gruden, because then that's a whole different comparison.
Right. So, you talking about 3 years with Ron, right? I'm gonna tell you what, Ron gets longer than that, because 7-9 divisional win. 7-9. I'm
gonna tell you even more than that though. Why Ron gets more than that? I think it's even worse. It's even more than that. Ron gets more of that leeway because where the franchise is at, period, and the reputation of the franchise. That's why Ron gets it. They don't want to have that. Oh, we're going through another coach. They already have all this bad PR anyway. Ron coaches like he has no sense of urgency, and there's a reason why he coaches that way. Put it that way. There's no sense of urgency. There's no panic about losing this job. Because to be real, I'm just like Jim Harbaugh is talking about coming back to the NFL. Jim Harbaugh is a proven commodity in the NFL in terms of improving the program, improving the organization. Proven commodity. If it was old Daniel Snyder and this has been 7-9, 7-10, he would call. Like he would call. Like not to say he would do it, he would call. He did it with Marty and Steve Spurrier. Like he would call. Like he would call and say, hey, any interest? So I'm just saying, like, Ron is comfortable. Like he's very comfortable. So So that's the thing. Like that's the reason why he coaches the way he coaches. The reason why he's so stubborn. He knows that nobody's going to do anything about it. And he owns the situation. And he can do whatever he wants to. And this is even to me 7-9. You're right, Glenn. To a certain extent, that does play a part. Excuse me. But I do think that it's where the organization is at. Period, as a whole. PR. I mean, just bad ownership, everything. Where they're not going to even. He's not going to even touch that. You know, so that's it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, what you got something to say, right? You said, huh?
No, not at all. I just tweeted you all. I know Candy, she saw. Ron Rivera was asked if he anticipated making any staff changes, and he said, "No, I don't anticipate doing anything other than the things we need to do to move forward." But that doesn't make sense.
Right.
He said, "I don't anticipate doing anything other than the things we need to do to move forward." What the heck does that mean?
I'm telling you, man, this dude.
Like as you're saying all this, I'm up here. I'm trying to wrap my mind around what that means.
You, man.
What does that mean?
I'm gonna tell you what it tells you. I'm not trying to fire my guys, man. That's what he's like. I'm not trying to fire my guys.
Yeah,
I'll look at position coaches though. I'm telling you, man, this dude. Like I don't get it. Like how. Like, this is your job. This is your image. This is everything. Like, this is year 3. Dude, like, it is what it is. Your coordinators right now, for whatever reason, they're not doing it. They're not cutting it. So you got to really assess it. Like, you got to assess it.
Documentation of the conversation.
Yeah. We say what?
Don't lie. No, I'm just quoting Glenn because the number of wins and the production. You have to look at. I mean, Matt Rule already is talking about bringing in Jay Gruden as an offensive coordinator.
Which is good.
He's a great coordinator.
Great coordinator. Jay is a good coordinator.
But here it's like, nah, we just gonna move forward with what needs to be done. What does that mean? That's what I want to know.
What does that mean?
That's so Riverboat. That's such a
that's so Riverboat Ron. You gonna take that gamble, right?
What bothers me about the media is whenever Washington wins or they hit a nice winning streak, they always show him in the locker room throwing stuff at the wall and all that stuff.
Oh,
but they don't ever show him. And during losses, he just stands there. I don't understand. I would love to talk to him. No, again, it's not that personal, but it's just that statement. Like when adversity strikes, it seems like he struggles. I'm not gonna lie. It was early in the season. Like, man, I wish we almost didn't. I almost wish we didn't make the playoffs. Now it's no. We're gonna move forward with what needs to be done. That's all. What?
You know what he is though. He a front runner. Like when everything's good, he's out there. He's in a good mood. He's jovial. You know what I mean? He's in a good mood. Whatever. But when everything's bad, like you said, Ray, I wish we didn't go win. I wish we didn't go 7-9 and made the playoffs. Now everybody's expectations are just too lofty.
Consistency.
Like,
that's
he's
all
a front
I'm asking
runner,
for.
dog.
I'm asking for consistency. Like for real. In my post game presser today, I would still emphasize the fact that this football team is going through a lot because they are. But now, if you won, now you're not going to focus on that. But if they were lost, well, we're going through a lot. No, listen, be consistent with what you're saying. And I'm sure he doesn't want to make a change at the coordinator position, on either side of the ball. I get it.
He doesn't.
But at least just say that. Just say that. Look, I have confidence. I feel like Scott is a good offensive coordinator. Jack's resume. What we can do together. We have the pieces. Say something that makes sense to me.
Yeah, facts, dog. Facts. So Candy.
That's why he's not Mike. That's why he's not Mike Tomlin.
Well, not Mike Tomlin. Ain't nobody. Man, he ain't none of them dudes.
I'm saying again, press conference wise, you have to say what your fan base wants you to hear. Mike Tomlin is when you listen to his pressers, he talks to fan base. He talks to his fan base. He knows. He called players out. He tell that was stupid. He shouldn't have did that. This that. Ron doesn't do that. Even with the fight between Deron Payne and I ain't say fight, the little incident between Payne and Allen. Ron feels like, we're gonna keep it in the house. No, you know what? My players was wrong. They should have did that. They should have handled that on the football field. I, as the head coach, will take care of that later. We're gonna keep it in house. Done deal. But he didn't address it that way. So as you mentioned, he is a front runner, and some things that he does. If you just look at the body language on the sideline, you can tell that he's not calling plays or even in decision of what we call.
No, I agree. He lets his coordinators do their thing, even though they're struggling. So Candy, right now we're in two seasons of the Rivera regime. Season already ended, like you 7-10. What would be your grade for Coach Rivera, the Coach Rivera regime so far?
He gets a C from me.
Okay, a C.
He gets a
That's fair.
C.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm giving, I don't think it's a failure. I mean, we know there was a lot last year too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with him going through
Cancer.
cancer and everything. But I think the C really comes in for me this year because, one of the things that I always was big on was that, and I think, Glenn, you were saying it earlier,
Whew.
when Dak Prescott came back, it was going to be different because everyone knew that Dallas declined last season because of the Dak Prescott injury. Right. And then there was also drama with the quarterback situation in Philly last year, but we knew this year that Jalen Hurts was going to be the quarterback. So all these slow starts, trying to feel things out. No, you got to hit the ground running. And I know there's 2 games before the bye. I'm pretty sure if the team could take those 2 games back, they would. And you mentioned one of them, that was the Broncos game in the Saints game.
Yep.
Those 2 games right there.
Yep.
And that's before the bye. And definitely I would say the Cowboys game at FedEx. If they could take that back, because that's when they started to shift from what was working, I think due to the injuries, like Glenn's point, and COVID, right? But I just, hey, those things would your team is going to go through injuries. That's a part of the game. All the other stuff isn't necessarily part of the game, like the COVID and the past, all the tragic situations with Frazier and then my brother.
Yeah,
but you got to be out here. I mean, these teams are playing every single week to win. They're not playing to feel somebody out or to see how we looking in the division. They're playing to punch you in the mouth every single week.
Facts.
I have not seen Ron do that, and so for that, I got to give him a C.
I want to add one more game to that. I'm gonna add the Green Bay game when it was in the red zone 5 times and came away with enough. That was the game they threw away as well.
Yep.
They weren't gonna win that game anyway, but I feel you, Glenn.
If you go back and look at that game, they were in.
No, I feel you. No, they were better. They were definitely competing better than I thought they were. So yeah, I definitely agree. Hey, Ray, what grade would you give this the Rivera regime?
Man, shout out to George. He just made a comment. I don't know if you can bring it back, Glenn, about
y'all want to see
Ron Rivera, who there it is. Ron Rivera claiming he didn't know about the Payne Allen incident was pure weakness. Again, it's hard to figure out Coach Rivera, but I will agree with Candy on the C aspect. I'm just going to say this. He needs to learn from the trends in the division and also your rival teams. Number one is the team typically in the NFC East with the strongest defense wins it, correct?
Yep.
So last year you had the strongest defense. You won it. We know Dak was out, and that goes to my second point. Look at Dak. Look at Jalen Hurts. Their teams are winning, aren't they? Were they top picks, either one of those guys?
Nah, good point.
Nope. But they look like they have the ability to carry their franchises. You got to get a young guy in the draft. And that injury changed Dallas. Look at the difference. I mean, it's huge. Jalen Hurts, I love Jalen Hurts, and I'm biased. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Jalen Hurts dude.
Obviously, I can tell.
I feel like he overcomes adversity. But I'm just saying, would you rather have him or Heineke? That's all.
Oh, easily. That's easy. Jalen Hurts. Easily Jalen Hurts.
So you got to drive the quarterback, Ron. And I think that sometimes, just based on what I'm saying, Ron is going to be stubborn, and we'll go back to the word arrogant. This is what I'm doing, and it's going to work. But 7-9 and 7-10 says that what you're doing is not working, my friend.
Yeah.
Glenn, what would your grade be for this regime, man?
I give him a C minus. I see the C minus. I agree with Ray. You look at the guys, Dak, and you look at Jalen Hurts, and you look at those guys. They both had chip on their shoulders coming into the league, right? They had chips coming on their shoulders coming into the league because they said they couldn't play in this league. They couldn't be here. They wasn't where they're supposed to be at. But also, if you look at both of those teams, where they do very well is they utilize their running back and they utilize their tight end. Right?
I agree.
Where they run the football and they have a tight end that can catch the football out of the backfield. Who has been Dak's a key wide receiver for the last couple of games? It's been Schultz, the tight end.
Schultz.
Right?
Yep.
Right, he's in my fantasy team. I'm not even knocked it, right?
Cowboy, what's going on with you, man?
Hey, when I play fantasy, I play to win, dog. Look, I picked Dak up on free agency last week just to
Oh,
win the
man.
fantasy.
I feel you, bro. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. You gotta do what you gotta do.
But it goes to the point. They have not been able to have a stable tight end in the system, right? Because tight end's been hurt, and they haven't been able to have a strong running game, consistent running game. I know Gibson got 1,000 yards this year, great for him. But again, the running game has not been consistent. He has to have a conversation with Scott Turner. So this is, again, I think I said it last week's show. What is the identity offensively of this Washington football team? This Washington football team does not have an identity, and they will not win until the Washington football team offensively determine what their identity is.
Yeah, I mean, to answer that question, I mean, it's an identity if you want it to be an identity. I felt like they had an identity in that winning streak. They just chose to go away from that identity because the coach just didn't want to have that and go that route. Oh, man, George said he'd rather have Minshew over Heineke. Yeah, I agree. But Minshew almost better than Heineke. It is. It's almost better than Heineke. To Ray's point about Jalen Hurts, what makes him a better quarterback is that you're not asking him to drop back and throw the ball 30 times. You're asking him to make plays with his leg and run the football. And then he can make some plays with his arm. So the coordinator knows, he knows his talent. Now, granted, Jalen Hurts is a better athlete and a better player than Taylor Heineke, so I'm not saying that. But again, he's still not asking Jalen Hurts to go out there and win football games throwing the football. You know what I mean? Because Jalen Hurts right now doesn't see the whole field right now. Doesn't mean he's not going to, but he's kind of teaching and grooming Jalen Hurts to a point where he's going to be at. I mean, the same, if you look at what Andy Reid did, as great as Patrick Mahomes is, he limited Patrick Mahomes as a starter, like in terms of like made play calling easy for Patrick Mahomes, meaning they did a lot of wide bubble screen passes that utilized the arm strength. He wasn't asking Patrick, and Pat Mahomes even said it, he wasn't asking him to read defenses. He wasn't asking him to do that. He was saying Patrick Mahomes would learn that gradually. Year two, he even said it. I wasn't reading defense. I couldn't read defenses my year two. But Andy Reid made things easy for him. The issue with this staff, from what I'm seeing, is that you ain't getting that same type of coaching. You know what I'm saying? And they don't tailor that stuff they don't tailor it for the talent. You know what I mean? So to Ray's point, you rather have a Jalen Hurts. Obviously, you already know the way Dak is playing. Dak has been playing at a high level since he's gotten to the league, to be honest with you, and throwing the football. So they're going to need to get a guy in here that they can believe in, and it's going to have to be up to the scouting department. They have to bring a quarterback and be able to identify if you can't get him in the first round. Like Ray mentioned, the other two quarterbacks weren't real first rounders. Like get these quarterbacks maybe in the second round, but your scouting team has to identify it. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. And can you really say for this going into this offseason, you believe like the scouting department and how they can identify who to draft? But I mean, you picked up Jamin Davis. People complaining, said that he's going to play middle linebacker and he struggled. You know what I'm saying? There's no knock on the kid. I think the kid's going to get better. But I'm just saying that your first rounder is supposed to be an individual who just makes an impact in year one. Supposedly, that's what you want from your first rounder. So I'm not saying he won't, because I do believe in the kid, but I'm just saying that's ideally what you want out of your first rounder. So the thought process is, all right, Ron, do we trust you even in drafting? You know what I mean? You let a dude go, and Kyle Smith, who identified a lot of good draft picks while he was here, but you decided not to keep him. So we're gonna see if you can identify a quarterback who can be a guy that maybe is the Russell Wilson or the Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott, one of those guys where maybe you don't have to draft them in the first round, but maybe you can give them in the second. But I still think they should go after, if they get a quarterback they like and he slides to them in the first round, you got to take him. I just feel like you got to take him. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I don't care if the third, fourth rated quarter, like you just take him. You just take him. If he's mobile, you just take him. I mean, especially if he's mobile, you take him.
But the two guys that we talked about, some things they have a learning curve too. I mean, they came from SEC programs. You got a guy I like Jalen Hurts who learned under a Nick Saban, Alabama. That goes out there to believe Oklahoma and learned there as well, right? And you got Dak Prescott who's down in Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Mississippi State who learned down there. So SEC football in a learning curve. Again, it is the mindset of the team bringing in a quarterback that has a clear chip on his shoulder. Can we all be Dwayne Haskins wasn't that guy. He wasn't that guy that had to fight for everything all his life. Let's be honest, right there, right? That's
You said he had a silver spoon. Gee. Said Dwayne had a silver spoon.
But whole different show. I take that and I say that because look at Lamar Jackson, right? He told you on draft night. Lamar told you on draft night, oh, okay, I'm gonna make every one of your guys, pay because you didn't draft me. Dwayne Haskins didn't say that, right? None of the quarterbacks that came in Washington, 25 quarterbacks. I think they put up a stat: 25 different quarterbacks since 2001, right?
Yeah.
How many of those quarterbacks had a chip on their shoulder? You only had 4 winning quarterbacks. Four out of 25 quarterbacks had a winning record since 2001 here in Washington. And you tell me a quarterback makes a difference in Washington?
It should, man. I mean, I just feel like they're gonna have they got to they have to identify a quarterback. They just do. It is what it is. They're gonna have to identify one. It's about that time. I mean, they had one in 2012. They felt like they had one, and it didn't work out. George said my rankings for the college quarterbacks as of now is Corral, Pickett, Willis, and Howe. Howe from UNC, Willis Liberty, Pickett's from Pittsburgh, and Corral and Ole Miss, right? And Corral's from Ole Miss, right? Sorry for that injury. The injury was sad, man. The injury sad, but yeah, if they can get one of those quarterbacks, and with the blessing, the good thing for them is not a lot of teams looks like they're looking for a quarterback or not impressed with this class of quarterback. So somebody should slide to them. I do think somebody will slide to them. But I mean, they need to identify a quarterback. I think it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. I can't. And my fear as a Washington fan, because seeing Jason Campbell, seeing what he had to deal with, I just want a quarterback. I'm serious. Like, Ray, I know you're laughing because Jason Campbell shows no emotion. That's Ray's little thing. Jason Campbell had to deal with, like, with all the coordinators. I'm like, please get a coordinator. If it's Scott Turner, all right, let it be Scott Turner, but at least be capable, man. Like, I don't want this kid to be screwed if you draft a quarterback. Like, that's the issue. Like, when you get a young quarterback, people don't understand how important that offensive play calling is to a quarterback. Like, they keep thinking that it's all. You saw what happened with Trevor Lawrence having Urban Meyer as his coach. I mean, that kid is talented as hell, and you saw they beat the Colts, who has a good defense, and he played well. Urban's gone, so he's actually getting taught by some real NFL tutelage right now. He's getting taught by some real NFL coaches right now. So now it's like he's gonna be a better quarterback. Same in this situation. Whoever you draft, if you feel like Scott Turner is that guy, then hopefully that he's going to help this kid get better. But that's my thing.
I just don't understand, man. I don't understand that. I'm not going to keep dwelling on the coordinator position, but when you have good ones,
you got to be honest.
But when you have good ones here, you don't keep them. Sean McVay, we knew who he was.
Yeah.
Now
I got another one. Yeah.
His offense had some struggles in the red zone. But
he was always good.
But you knew he was a mastermind. You knew he was really being considered for head coaching job. Like, seriously. And of course the man walks. And now look how that's turning out. He might just be in the Super Bowl yet again this coming season. But I just don't get why we're so enamored with him. And
Kevin O'Connell, right? Kevin O'Connell had Dwayne playing good the last 3 games, 3 games of the season. Folks were saying Kevin O'Connell could be an offensive, forget head coach. They said that eventually he's one of the bright young minds, and they were like he could be an offensive coordinator on another team. Guess what? Guess who he's the offensive coordinator where? The Rams, the team who may go to the Super Bowl. That's all. Ron, and Ron had an opportunity to keep him. He wanted to stay. If Ron said he could have kept them. What you want to say, Candy? Did you want to say something?
I'm trying to figure out why. Well, no, I'm just trying to figure out, and I can see Ron's approach of you trying to bring all your friends along, you trying to bring all your homies along. But hey, listen, if you didn't win with them before, it's no love lost. You know what I'm saying? It's I need the best person for the job, and just because we cool, and just because I worked with you before, does not mean you're the best person for the job. It's like it's got to be other people out here between. I mean, look at other. Look at the collegiate. Look at the collegiate space. Look at those other. I'm gonna go back to the point of the scouts. I'm a little concerned. I'm not convinced Washington football has the best team of scouts and evaluators based on the last couple of drafts. I mean, the numbers are there, the production is there, and none of us see it. I see all of y'all like, yeah, no, I don't see it either. Right?
No, I don't see it. I don't see it.
So it's like, when is it going to? When they need to get out of the whole, because we all did this together before, because we all worked together in Carolina, because we did this. You didn't win in Carolina.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you lost to the Washington football team in Carolina
Last year.
when you got fired, and now for some reason you got hired. But we all know that story. Like, get some talent in here. Get some smart people in here that can do the job, and you do not have to be friends with them in order to get the job done. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It does matter. And it's cool to bring the homies over. I get it. Like, I get it. Everybody love the homies. It's good to, sometimes you want to have your homies with you. But sometimes you got to tell your homie, like, you know what, man, you ain't doing enough right now. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to better yourself first before I can make you better. Like, then I can bring you on. Like, you got to better yourself first. And then when you get yourself situated, then I'm going to get you on, and we can rock together. Because some people ain't ready to move on with you. Some people ain't ready to move on with you. And obviously, like, some of the dudes, they still on that year in Carolina where they were losing. They ain't about that winning life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, Matthew Stafford, look at him this season. Now, he had Megatron in Detroit. Just those two alone offense, like, they should win. Detroit didn't. Why? Because the coaching situation was always in flux. Always. Yes. Now, when they had a good one in Caldwell, what happened?
Right.
So weird. Here you just mentioned two young bright minds on this coaching staff, and they're winning elsewhere. Man, I don't know. I really don't know, because you removed Bruce Allen. You removed Bruce Allen and you brought in Hurney. I like Hurney. I think he needs to be more hands on this all season.
Me too.
Because I really believe he has the ability to build the winning roster. He was the one that built that Carolina roster pre-Ron Rivera.
Yes.
So exactly. I think he's the guy with the proven track record. Let him make decisions, and I think you'll see improvement next season, and that includes the quarterback position. But don't draft the quarterback like Wole said, just to ruin him. You need to draft somebody who you're going to develop. Yeah. And Ron said we're going to move forward with what needs to be done, whatever that means. So
I don't know whatever that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
It's crazy. It's going to be interesting. So what we going to do this off season? I'm asking all y'all content-wise because there's so much to work off of. Starting with 2-2, I guess that's going to be our next real show, right? 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2-2. Yeah.
The Admirals. I got Avery Johnson in my head.
Annoyed. Can I just be honest?
Go ahead. Candy, go ahead, Candy.
Now I'm really about to go off about this name.
Go ahead, Candy. Go ahead.
By this name situation, because I feel like it's a smoke and mirrors.
Definitely.
Like, come on. Like, are y'all kidding me? So I mean, it's like, y'all ever heard the analogy when somebody's like squirrel, and then everybody looks?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
That's exactly what happened.
That's what happened.
The team got eliminated.
Yeah.
So the team got eliminated for the playoffs. That damn excuse me, I'm not supposed to, but that railing fell.
Yeah.
That railing fell at FedEx Field. Next thing you know, 2-2-22. Oh, squirrel. Okay, now
you know what I'm more mad at though about that? I'm mad at the fan base because everybody's eating that crap up, and I'm like sitting there like y'all not like y'all smarter than this. Like, don't do that. Like, y'all smarter than this.
See what's gonna happen is, right? You gotta realize what 2 is, right? Isn't that Groundhog's Day?
Yes, it is.
Right. So we can keep waking up and we don't have a name for the team, right? Or
I was like, who's scheduled this for
Daniel Snyder's gonna see his shadow, right? And you gotta wait 6 more weeks. Right?
This is a joke, man. I can't even that's what
the admirals, the
commanders, the admirals.
I'm the only one that I don't care. I don't care what the name is. I just want to win football games.
I don't care about the team name. I think the energy. I think there's too much energy put into it. That's.
I got to look at the numbers, but have they lost money because they were the Washington football team?
No.
Nah, just.
I think merchandise sales are still up, right?
Nah, what happened was, what happened. What it is that they needed to spark something different because they started losing. They started getting that losing streak. So once they started getting that losing streak and they went out the postseason, then it was like, oh, we gotta do something because our fans are starting to be disgusted with this, especially that Eagles game when the Eagles own FedEx. because obviously nobody. They were like, we got to change it. We got to bring some energy back to the fan base. Because the fans are really getting pissed off with the whole situation. They're getting pissed off, so they're just trying to find a way to.
Anything wrong, which they will, because
it's wrong. It's a bad name.
It's gonna be a debacle.
It's a horrible names. These are horrible names. They're horrible names.
I just want them to keep the colors. I don't care what the name is. Keep
I heard they're gonna be in black. I heard they got some black jerseys and something. That's what I heard. Somebody told me that. See, why am I even entertaining this? I don't even know why I'm entertaining this. Like,
I'm just throwing out there that there's a lot of storylines going into the offseason, and this is just the next major announcement for the Washington football team.
Yeah, I know.
But we just graded Ron Rivera, and I want to show him some love because there's a lot of coaches who would struggle to navigate what he went through again this season with the email leaks. I mean, even when John Gruden got fired in Vegas, Washington was entrenched into that story. And it's like, I can't talk about football. He has these weekly appearances on multiple shows. I'm sure it was difficult. And, I mean, it's hard to navigate just COVID alone. So I do want to make sure we're being fair to him and everyone for that matter, in addition to, of course, some of the other difficult moments that occurred as of recent. It's just unfortunate because it's just this franchise. They can't afford to deal with these bad PR stories. They just can't. And then the Washington Post is out for blood. They ain't playing.
I ain't playing.
And this isn't even a market where we're considered a tough media. It's not at all.
I know.
And so if this team was in New York, do you understand that the scandals would just be continuing? The black and white photos would be it would be crazy. Dan Slaughter would not be he wouldn't be able to walk. Where's he live at? They would know where his street is. You'd be pissing it out that thing. It's crazy.
That's what other markets think we saw. Other markets think we saw.
Yeah.
Because we don't talk about those things publicly. We don't. We don't say anything.
You don't ask the right questions either, though, to the coaches and stuff.
Let's do it, y'all. Let's go hard to paint. Let's make that a goal.
Go hard to paint.
Not to be disrespectful. Let's just do our jobs effectively.
Go hard to go home, man.
Go hard to go home, man. But a lot of you already know, Ray. A lot of folks they scared, man. They don't want that smoke.
Scott Turner, he chose to go on a podcast at the beginning of the season. He chose to. He reached out to someone, I'm not going to say who, on Twitter and said, let's do this.
Oh, he did?
He did. So we're going to start to at this dude like all the time. Like, come on, let's talk about it. Because I would love to just sit down and just get his line of thinking, just to hear his train of thought. I would love to.
That'd be great, man. But I know I'm horrible. I got the hashtag fire Scott Turner thing popping on my hashtag. Yeah, I got that.
We're not the softest media, George. I agree with you that we're not the softest here. And not saying that at all, but I'm just saying compare for a major market like Washington.
Hey,
I think
we do have there is some hard people down in Carolina. There's some hard people down in Carolina ask the right questions. I got a couple.
Look, here, I do. Tell him, Glenn. Yeah.
I got a couple calls this week saying you might get a phone call from an organization because I'm going hard in the paint. But I tell you.
Okay. I like hearing it. Yeah. I like it. They can't.
2022 goals. I already got it.
I love it. You say what?
I said 2022 goals. That's all I said.
Okay, bad. So, Katie, appreciate you for being on. Before we let you go, let our listeners know how to catch you on social media, and let our listeners know about your content.
Awesome, and thanks y'all so much. This was fun. This was fun as always, hanging out with you guys.
Always.
So you guys can find me on Twitter at SeawallSE, on Instagram at Seawall Sports, and on Facebook at Seawall Sports and Entertainment. On Monday evenings, I do Coaching from the Couch, the Washington football team update, a show specifically dedicated to the Washington football team. That is on the Facebook page. And on Thursdays, there's a Coaching from the Couch, your weekly DC sports update covering all DC sports teams. That's also on the Facebook Seawall Sports and Entertainment page as well. You can also catch me on the Triple W podcast, covering the Wizards and the WNBA. So you can follow us on Twitter at the Triple W and on YouTube at the Triple W Podcast.
Nice.
Dope. Great podcast. Appreciate y'all. Y'all do great work. Y'all really do.
Thank you.
And also subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Search all Burgundy and Gold, everything with the Urban Sports Scene. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. We appreciate everybody for listening, tuning into the show. Always appreciate the homie Candy. She's awesome. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. 4 ages, you dig? And deuces. A Mega, lead us out, big homie.